Evening, folks, and Happy New Year to all of you. This is my first video of the new year, and for this one, I'm going to talk about quite a sensitive topic, but it's got to be talked about, and that is violence against women. Now, as you've seen, which you may or might not have if you follow her, Supertansky, what's happened to her, and what happens to women worldwide on a daily basis is absolutely fucking abhorrent and isn't right. Now, what's happened to Supertansky? You know, she's had pervy bastards, creepy bastards, taking her photos, using AI to move her clothes, make her look younger, to satisfy their fucking disgusting fantasies or whatever the hell that goes on in their heads. And that's absolutely disgusting. Not only is it without her consent, she didn't say yes to that. She didn't agree to that. But yet some creepy bastards have done that. And it's disgusting. Never mind the amount of comments and messages that she gets, calling all the names out under the sun. But yet still saying things like he'd love to smash her ass in. That's disgusting. It isn't right. And men say things like this all the time against women. Beat women, abuse women, rape women, kill women. And it's not right. It's not fucking right. It is disgusting. But women face this on a daily basis. I mean, I've grown up seeing abuse towards women as a child. I've seen my mum have fucking beatings and hidings, even having her teeth missing because of her ex-partner, who's an absolute fucking wanker. And it's not right, it isn't right. And the thing is, many men, play the high card, and go, oh, but not all men, not all men. And I'm sure we're all guilty of doing that at some point, But at the end of the day, that's not what women want to hear. Women don't want to hear that. They don't want to see that. Not all men this, not all men that. Because that doesn't help anything. What does help, and what would help, and what they do want to hear, is men calling out other men for their bullshit, their misogynistic behaviour, their rapey, pervy behaviour, and standing up, doing the right thing, and calling this shit out. Because it's got to stop. It's not right. The police don't do fuck all. Because the police is just corrupt, misogynistic, and rotten to its fucking core. They don't give a shit. My mother was telling me stories before about when her father, my grandpa, used to beat my grandmother, and the police would come round, bundle him in a car, take him on the corner, and tell him, don't do it again, and chuck him out of the car, and he'd come home, and he'd do it all over again. There's been many times when my mother has had to call the police on her partner when I was a child for, him being an absolute bastard to her. And the police would come round, and they wouldn't give a shit what my mother said. They wouldn't give a shit. They'd always take the man's side. Every single time. It is not right. It is disgusting. The world is becoming increasingly more misogynistic towards women. The violence towards women, the rapes, the murders, it's getting worse. It doesn't help as well when you got people like Andrew Tate, who is, influencing a generation of men and young boys do think it's okay to treat women that way. And that's good. That's a fact. And it's going to take a long freaking time to get rid of that and to, undo the damage that Andrew Tate is doing, The misogynistic terms that men use to describe women, back in the 40s and earlier, men used to use the term to women as broads. And these days, men use terms like birds or that. Sometimes you hear men, out in the pubs and things like that, you see a woman go past and like, ass on that. Ass on that. You shouldn't say ass on any woman anyway. Keep your eyes to your freaking self, like, A woman should be free to go to anywhere, really, and not have men fucking gawping at her. But that is what you call an inanimate object. A woman is a human being with her own rights who deserves respect. Not to be called that, or thing, or it. It and that has got a name. And she doesn't deserve to be mistreated and, disrespected like that. It's just fucking wrong. I've had friends telling me over the years that, I never get a girlfriend. I never get a wife because I've got too much respect for women. I would rather live my whole entire fucking life single and on my own than disrespect a woman. It isn't right. I know for many women out there who have suffered at the hands of domestic abuse, violence, you're in for men that, not all men are the same. I mean, yes, okay, those men might mean well when you say that, but it's not what they want to hear. Women don't want to hear that. They want to see action. Men have got to start doing better. Men have got to start being fucking better. And men have got to do better. Men, if your male friends are using misogynistic terms about women, when you're out and about, when you're hanging out, when you're in a pub, doing whatever fucking men do when they're out with friends, don't let it fly. Don't laugh it off as a joke between the lads. No. Because it's not right. You gotta call it out. You gotta shut that shit down. Whether you're out and about and you see a woman being harassed, a stranger woman being harassed, you don't know her, and you don't know the man who's harassing her, but still, you've gotta call it out and stop it. Women don't need you to say men are, not all men are the same. Women need you to fight for their rights, fight for them, and start, letting other men know it's not right, and it's gotta fucking stop. As I've said before, I know all too well about, the violence women face. I've seen it myself. Like I said, as a kid, I remember staying over a best friend's house, and I came back. My mother wouldn't talk to me. She wouldn't open her mouth. I'm like, why won't you talk? Why won't you open your mouth? Like, in the end, because I nagged her so much, she opened her mouth, and two of her teeth were missing. Because her partner at the time clonked her one, because he had a tantrum over something or whatever, as usual. And I didn't even give him a chance to, to speak or hear his side of the story when he came home from work. I picked him off the floor, had him by the scruff of the neck, lifted him off the floor, and told him in no uncertain terms that, you will not lay your hand on her again, because otherwise you'll face an early grave. That's as polite as I can make it for YouTube and obviously threads, but I can't really say what I said properly because I probably will get banned, but you get where I'm going with that. And from that day on, he never did. He never laid a hand on her again, or me. Because I think it was at that point where he knew, that I was growing up, getting stronger, and he couldn't overpower me anymore. There's been times where my mum has put herself in the firing line, to keep me safe as a kid, and the amount of emotional abuse, which is still as bad as violence as well. Emotional abuse is also really bad, which needs to be called out. He used to say things like, oh, you're fat, you're ugly, you won't find anyone better than me, I'm the best you'll ever have. All this behaviour that men do has got to stop. I have another friend, and he was telling me about a friend of his who had a restraining order against an ex, and he violated it 6 times. 6 times. And the police picked him up, had a word with him, told him not to do it again, and let him go. If the police are not going to hold men accountable for their actions against violence against women, then it's us who's going to do it. And we've got to call it out, shut it down, and stamp it out. There are stories of women, in America and over here, who are walking around with knives, guns in their bags, to use as self-defense and protection when you go out. Women shouldn't have to do that. Women should not have to carry weapons to protect themselves from men. Women should be fucking free to go out about and do whatever the hell they want to do, with no fear of being raped, murdered, beaten, or fucking wolf whistled, or fucking told how hot she looks, or fucking sexy she looks. She should be able to go out and do what she wants to do, without fear of judgment, without fear of rape, beatings, or killings. Women shouldn't have to go out in groups, for safety in numbers. Women should be safe to do whatever the hell they want, whether on their own or with others. So, this is a message to men. Do better. Be better. And to all the creepy fucks out there who do abuse women, if I see you doing it, whether in public, out in the street, or whether I see you do it on social media, I will call you out. And I will fucking come at you with everything I've got. Because it's got to stop. If I see it happening online, I will share your post. So all women on the internet will see what a creepy bastard you are, and avoid you like the plague. This isn't about doing the right thing anymore, or doing a bad thing or whatever. It's about doing it to stop this shit from happening, because women shouldn't have to be made to feel unsafe. There's no being good Samaritan anymore or whatever, or doing it to look good, or to brag, oh, I did this today, I did that today, because, I'm a hero. We shouldn't need to do that. We should do it anyway. Because it's being a decent fucking being and respecting, other women. I mean, I'm pretty sure all these creepy bastards wouldn't like pervy men raping their mothers, killing their mothers, being misogynistic against their mothers. So why would you leave this shit happen towards other women? It isn't right. And it's gotta stop. So again, I'll say it one more time to close. Men, be fucking better. Do fucking better. And if you see this shit happening, stop it. Call it out. And stamp it out. Because it's got to stop.